When you're in a negative state, you don't perform at a higher level. When you're in a negative state, it affects your biochemistry, it affects your immune system. You're in a negative state, it affects the people around you. When you're in a great state, perform better, enjoy life more, greater impact, all the above. So it's intelligent to be in a peak state. But you only can manage what you measure, like a business. When I take a company over and turn around and start measuring things, and I measure the most important things, and the more you measure, the better it'll get. Because you get more, instead of measuring once a year, if you're measuring, once a week, you got 52 times to improve it versus one. So I started measuring it, and I said, I'm going to live in a beautiful state no matter what every day. Now, in order to do that, I have to do two things. A, I have to acknowledge that I've been suffering, and I need to figure out what my favorite flavor of suffering is. So what I began to say is, I want to be happy even if they screw up. I want to be happy if they lost $1 million. I want to be happy, if my happiness is dependent upon other people behaving a certain way, the way I want them to, I'm a pretty influential guy, but I'm not God, right? And everybody's got their own things that they're doing. I'm never going to stay happy. And if I have to even make my happiness based on me behaving a perfect way every moment, it's not going to happen. So I gave room for life. And I decided to make a real decision. That's my invitation to people, and then I'll answer your question about how I know. First, you got to make the decision that says, life is too short to suffer. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in your lifetime with your children, with your wife, with your economics, with your business. I'm sure you're going to do well, everything, but there's things outside our control. The government could change the rules on something, right? The rules have changed before around direct marketing and on the web and so forth. Somebody in your family could get very ill. Someone can die in our families, right? No one wants to talk about it, but it can happen. If your happiness is only going to be when everything matches how you think it should be, you're not going to be there. And my view is that there's power in happiness. We downplay it in this culture. When a person is happy, they attract other people. When a person is happy, they live longer. That's a fact. When people are happier, they earn more, right? They do better in their careers. I mean, these are physiological, these are measured facts in our society, and yet we poo-poo happiness in our world. Like, oh, it's being enthusiastic or something like that. No, it's being inspired, in spirit, feeling alive. So what I did was, as much energy or passion I had before, I still had that, but what I found was, what was the stuff that would suck away that energy? And so now to answer your question, how would I know? Number one, I put the line in the sand and said, these are the ones I tend to drop into. I'm not doing it anymore, and if I find it, I made a rule. I got 90 seconds to get out. As I did it more and more, it's like a muscle. And when you use a muscle over and over again, it works. It's there for you. And so how I know, to answer your question, a long way to answer your question, but without that, I don't think people understand what we're talking about, is I sense tension in my body. Like, when you're in a beautiful state, things flow. When there's a tension, you can feel it in your face, your head. Somebody says something, somebody did something, somebody didn't do something, somebody used a certain term, somebody dropped something out, or you did something, or you should have done. Whenever that happens, there's a tension. And so I've really trained myself to feel that tension. And when I feel, I go, 90 seconds, and it's a game now. 90 seconds. And since I value that happiness so much, not like a deluded person, I'm so happy. Like, I value being in a beautiful state because it may not be happy. It may be driven. It may be courageous. It may be feeling bold. It may be love. It may be compassion for someone else or even myself. Right? I always have compassion for other people. I didn't have it for myself.
Right.
And so what I began to do is realize, holy cow, this is something that could change everything. And so that 90-second rule, I feel the tension, and then here's what I do. I know that it's triggered by one of three language patterns as a trigger, as an example. Lost, less, never. If you perceive that someone you're counting on, they failed to do something, or they failed to say something, or you failed to do something or say something that you should have, then what happens is that tension starts to show up because your brain goes, I lost that opportunity. I lost this moment. I lost that respect. I lost this love. I lost the money. I lost whatever you thought you lost. And loss is always an illusion. It's like the next opportunity is 2 minutes around the corner. It's not that complex. If we look for it, if we find it, if we don't live in the illusion of loss. Or less is the next one. If you think because he or she did something or didn't do it, you have less of something you value, less love, less joy, less excitement, less time, less energy, less economics, less respect, you're going to suffer inside. Some people suffer by being angry. Some people suffer by feeling sad. Everyone has different flavors, right? But you're going to suffer. And the worst one is never. If you think because she or he did this, or Donald Trump did something or didn't do it, or Mary Sue or you self didn't do it. And now you'll never have that love, you'll never have that respect, you'll never have that joy, you'll never have that economics. Once you believe that stuff, then the suffering stays. So the way out of lost, less, never is always appreciation or gratitude or love.
As I've grown older, I've learned to appreciate living in the moment, and I ask that you do too. I'm asking this graduating class, those of you here, I've asked all of my viewers in America and across the world to do this one thing. Keep a grateful journal. Every night, list 5 things that happened this day, in days to come, that you are grateful for. What it will begin to do is to change your perspective of your day and your life. I believe that if you can learn to focus on what you have, you will always see that the universe is abundant and you will have more. If you concentrate and focus in your life on what you don't have, you will never have enough. Be grateful. Keep a journal.
Being happy is not difficult, but unfortunately most people don't manage it because they think it's going to happen to them. When you're 5 years of age, you're quite happy, isn't it? Yes or no? I want you to go home and see one of your pictures when you're 5, it was like this. Now it's becoming like this. When you're 5 years of age, if you're so happy, by the time you're 30, you should have been ecstatic, if you had grown, I mean. But by the time they're 30, most people are mess themselves up in so many different ways. This is not because there is some difficulty with life or happiness, it is just that, as I told you, they gave you a sharp knife. You don't have a steady enough hand. If you had a steady hand, the sharp knife would be a wonderful instrument. If you don't have a steady hand, you keep cutting yourself, and now being happy when a knife is constantly cutting into you is very difficult, for sure. Yes? How many times has it happened to you in the last 25 years that it so happened somebody put a knife into you? Not happened for most of you. If it happened to 1 or 2 people, I'm sorry. Nobody even put a pin into you, isn't it? Yes or no? I'm asking, how many times it so happened from external sources suffering came to you? No, you're mostly in self-help. Yes or no? You're in self-help, isn't it? You don't need anybody's help, you're such an expert. Sometimes when I see people, I think they're training to get employment in hell or something. They're practicing here. Because they're so good at self-torture, they may be good at torturing other people. So happiness is neither easy nor difficult, because there is no states like this. This is happiness, this is unhappiness. You are slipping between this and that any moment, isn't it? Yes or no? It's not like there is a capsule of happiness and a capsule of unhappiness and they're separate. No, it is all intermingling, one moment like this, one moment like… in the same situation. One moment joyful, one moment miserable, another moment some other way, is it not happening? So these are not anything, this is just this. You are a volatile being right now, not stable enough. I told you this is an evolutionary problem. Your intellect and your awareness evolved ahead of your physiology. You're only 1.23% away from a chimpanzee, but in intelligence you are big away. Now your own intelligence turning against you, one simple way of being happy is you go for a lobotomy. You know what that is? Remove half of your brain. You will always be like that. So it's easy. It's not easy, it's not difficult. Should it be managed? You don't have to manage happiness, you must learn to manage your faculties. The only thing is just this, people are suffering two most important faculties of your mind, your memory and your imagination, which sets you apart from every other creature. What happened 50 years ago, you can still remember, which no other creature on this planet can probably, distinctly. And you can project into what may happen in the next 100 years. These memory and imagination are two basic faculties which makes us human and on top of the evolutionary pile. This is what people are suffering. What happened 10 years ago, they're still suffering. What may happen day after tomorrow, they're already suffering. This is not that they're suffering life, they're just suffering their memory and their imagination. So happiness, don't aim at happiness, just look at yourself. How what you call as myself is being conducted. If you conduct it, if you know how to conduct it the way you want it, you will be blissed out. Yes? It is not being conducted. So happiness and misery is happening by accident. Somebody else can cause happiness to you, somebody else can cause misery to you. Ask me, Sadhguru, we have been with you for 25 years, we've never seen you angry. Do you ever get angry? You want it? Do I look like somebody who's incapable of something like that? If you want, I'll give you. It's just that I have not given this privilege to anybody, that somebody can make me angry, somebody can make me unhappy, somebody can make me happy. No, I kept these things to myself. You must keep it to yourself too. It must be… the best hands are you, isn't it? Yes? Your joy and misery must be in your hands, isn't it? If you choose to be miserable, I'm not against it. But what you want should be happening within you, not otherwise, isn't it?
It's kind of unrealistic and can be destructive to place the responsibility for your happiness on anybody other than yourself.
It's Nina's fault that I'm not happy. Where are you, Nina?
Blame yourself.
Success completely misunderstood.
Rise and shine, it's Espresso time. What's up, Believe Nation? It's Evan. I believe in you, and this channel is designed to be part of your daily success routine. So let's start your day off right together. Grab your coffee and sip on today's message. Take responsibility. For your happiness. Over to you, Will Smith. Also, if you want to know what Will Smith has to say about confidence and excellence, check out my 254 series, where every day for the next 254 days, I will send you a morning video for free to help you build your confidence. The links to join are in the description below.
I was excited about taking a shot. The fact that it was so strange, you know, as an artist, it was fun to get out on that limb and hoping it doesn't break under your feet.
It takes such a desperate, obsessive focus to excel on the level that I want to make movies.
I wake up every morning. Espresso keep me going. I wake up every morning.
Happiness is so important. I'm so obsessed with it right now, and I hate that success and entrepreneurship and all this stuff have been put on a pedestal. Do you understand that most people think they need to make $1 million a year to be like winning? Meanwhile, in America, one of the richest countries in the world, $440,000 is the entry into the 1%. We have success completely misunderstood. We have success completely misunderstood. Let me tell you what success looks like. When you wake up in the morning and you're happy.
Well, I mean, he does a lot of my back office stuff for me, and I'm always waiting. For him to help me, and like my coaches are like, you're fine, you can do it, but I'm like, you don't understand.
And he's the support, but he's not like moving fast enough.
Right.
The reason why he's not is because he doesn't understand either how critical it is that he supports you. Right. He doesn't feel like he matters.
Probably, because I probably don't make him feel like he matters.
That's it, bingo.
Yeah.
If you were to leave here and do nothing but anytime you do, oh my God, I so appreciate that you just did that. You have no idea. Thank you, honey. If you were to bring him more into the business, not as in selling, but cheering for him, and making sure he understands that every stride you make is only because of what he's doing back at home.
Right. So true.
That will change how he behaves. Oh, I know it, because I have the part of our company that's out in the spotlight. My husband runs the books, runs legal, runs operations, runs HR, and is also the point parent while I travel. And so it'd be very easy to feel unappreciated because his role is not visible. I go out of my way to Snapchat at him, to acknowledge him, to elevate him, to thank him, to make him feel appreciated. Because that's what's missing. If somebody's not motivated on your team, whether it's your spouse or somebody else, they don't feel appreciated.
Okay.
That's why.